Mountain God needs no donations, only worship, please. Chap, 21 fan fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. Remilia Scarlet, for the first time in her rather long life, was completely lost as to what to do next. She had lost her most trusted subordinate. No, her closest confidant had been taken from her, with her not having a single choice in the matter. Remilia, even with her fate manipulation abilities, had lost battles before she came here to Gensokyo, and even needed to flee the earth due to her nature as a vampire, bringing the attention of the magically entitled hunters that the church groomed. She adamantly pushed back the thoughts of her defeats to the Hakurei Miko as those didn't count at all. Case in point was how she was blankly sitting on her throne and had to realize that no matter how many times she rang her bell, Sakuya wouldn't come to refuel her wine glass full of the blood she would regularly trade with that gap hag for. The sun has already set. Will you be going to negotiate for Sakuya's release? A voice reached the matriarch of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, and as she looked over to the yokai who basically lived within her library, she sighed weakly. And what can I offer that will uproot the demands the very planet we walk upon has placed upon Sakuya? You. Remilia, as though saying she could offer up Patchouli in her time-stopping maid's place, but she shook her head as the librarian and powerful mage couldn't even do her own dishes or walk up a flight of stairs without collapsing due to her extremely frail health. No. I need to either submit to Moria in order to have Sakuya return to me for little to no cost in order for her to continue to provide for me, or I will have to ensure a yokai or similar entity is recruited to the mansion to help take care of the mansion in Flandra. Patchouli deadpanned at the owner of her home before she shrugged carelessly and spoke with a light tone. Remilia, either way something needs to be done, as Kawakuma, despite her being an immortal devil and bound to me, hates being accidentally rendered to atoms due to Flandra throwing a tantrum about being served lukewarm blood. Patchouli spoke, referring to her library assistant that took care of the chores that Sakuya did. Remilia sighed and bent over in her throne, groaning as she rubbed her face as she recalled the unholy tantrum her precious little sister Flandra threw at the news of Sakuya no longer being with them for the next century. Honestly, she couldn't tell whether she was pissed at the fact that no one was going to clean up the dust from her disintegrating stuff, or actually missed Sakuya herself. What did you mean by submitting to Moria? Patchouli finally asked after a moment of silence as the two ladies organized their thoughts. Remilia looked over to her longtime friend and frowned as she herself was considering that very thing. From the news coming from the entities of Gensokyo that conversed with, and our singular interaction with Moria, and the scant knowledge I do have of the mountain gods that formed in the outside world, I am now rather confident about Moria's psychological profile. Remilia said confidently. Is that the same level of confidence that led you to attempting to control a mountain god in order for him to help you, and led to us almost being killed for irritating the very personification of the planet Earth? Patchouli said, dry as a desert, making Remilia's face twitch at how she couldn't deny her words. Patchouli, perhaps you would rather do the negotiations in my stead, seeing as you have such a strong opinion. Remilia snarked. A loud bang rang out through the room, with another short girl running into the throne room and finally bent over, slightly panting, before she straightened and pointed dramatically at the matriarch of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Big sister, I am going to kick that stupid mountain god's butt, and I am going to save Sakuya, even if you are too scared to do so. Flandra cried out, with a spear made out of fire flaring out of her hands to show her determination. The expensive crystal wine glass abruptly shattered in her hand, sending its shards flying around the room as Remilia's face blushed red at the anger her sister brought to her at the accusation that she wouldn't do anything for Sakuya. Flandra. Go back to your room, you do not understand the stakes of dealing with the mountain god Moria. I swear that I will do all in my power to bring her back home. But attacking him will accomplish nothing in the best case, and in the worst case we could all face a worse situation than Sakuya. Remilia said earnestly, trying to assuage her temperamental sister, but it was all for naught. Honestly, she would rather not deal with deities of any sort, as they were all extremely proud and petty creatures that led to nothing but heartache. Especially male gods interacting with females always tended to end up either screwed over by another jealous woman, or actually being screwed and ending up pregnant regardless of their opinions. No, big sister. I am going to save Sakuya, and I already defeated Kawakuma and Myling, you can't stop me. Flandra cried, swiping her spear of fire towards her sister before fleeing the room, as she knew she couldn't defeat her sister in a straight fight, but knew she was considerably faster in open flight. Patchouli abnormally giggled at the stunned Remilia's look as she softly spoke. Well, if the lady of the house won't go, I suppose her younger sister will do. Damn it, Flandra. Get back in the basement. Remilia cried out as she took off with her bat wings bursting out of the back of her dress and began frantically flying after her stupid little sister.